Today we're going to go through the quick process of upgrading an electrical outlet from a standard outlet to a newer style outlet with USB ports. This is a fairly simple process and should take under 10 minutes. To start, we need to make sure we have no power at the outlet. Plug in your outlet tester, then go to your electrical panel and turn off the breaker associated for where you're working. We leave our outlet tester plugged in to visibly tell when we've successfully removed power from that outlet. Once you have the power turned off at the outlet, it's time to start removing the outlet itself. Start off with removing the outlet plate cover, which is typically held on with flathead screws. Once the cover is removed, it's time to remove the outlet itself. Newer outlets should be held in with Phillips head screws, but if you have ancient outlets like I used to have, you'll have flathead screws here too. Now, if you have double outlets like I do here, it may be easier for you to actually unscrew both outlets to give you better access to the wiring and give you more slack to work with. I was originally going to replace the right outlet, but ended up deciding I should do the left one once I was in here. You'll want to be careful when unscrewing the outlets, as the screws that come with these things are some of the softest metals ever for screws and can easily be stripped out. It's the primary reason I don't use a drill or impact driver to tighten or loosen them. However, I did want to try out my new electric screwdriver, and it worked fairly well for it. Ideally, it's not meant for screws that are as tight as these things are, but it did a respectable job in my opinion. Once you have the outlet unscrewed and pulled out to where you can get to the wires, it's time to take a look at what you have. If your wires are wrapped around the screw terminals, it's just as simple as unscrewing the terminal and unwrapping the wire off of it. In my case, however, I have my wires backstabbed in, so in order to remove them, I either have to cut the wires or use a thin blade screwdriver to shove into the little hole next to each wire to release the tension on the wire. Backstabs are single use and cannot be used again. So if I were to keep this outlet, I would have to use terminals on the side instead of the backstabs in the future. However, I buy outlets in bulk, so this one is being chucked into the bin so I don't accidentally use the backstabs. Now it's time to put the new outlet in. This has two screws on the side, a gold one labeled hot and a silver one labeled neutral, and then one on the bottom for the ground wire that's green. The neutral wires should always be the white wires if your house is wired properly and would be put onto the silver screw. The thing I like about this style of outlet is that they have two open ports on the back for inserting wires and then have tension applied when you tighten the screw on the side. The only caveat with this style is it requires the same gauge wire for multiple wires going in. In my case, I have 14 gauge wiring, so I have to use two 14 gauge wires or two 12 gauge wires. If you mix them together, the smaller gauge won't be properly tensioned and could fall out, causing an electrical hazard. Just work your way around the outlet, putting the bare copper wire into the green screw at the bottom, and then the two black wires into the gold hot screw on the side. Since this is a daisy-chained outlet, it has the line power coming from the outlet next to it, and then has a load line coming out of it that goes somewhere else in the wall. If it was a single outlet, it would likely have a line power wire coming from a set of wires instead of coming from another outlet. And unless that outlet is the last one in the line of outlets and switches, it'll have another set of wires coming out of it. If it is the last in line though, it'll only have one set of wires and is the easiest to wire in. With that done, I always like to turn the power back on and test all of the outlets to make sure everything is correct. If you do this before screwing the outlets back into the outlet box, be careful not to touch the terminals or wires, as you will get a taste of the angry pixies flowing through them if you do. Once you're satisfied that you have the outlets wired correctly and they're working, it's time to screw the outlets back into the box in the wall. If you're not comfortable doing this while the power is on, by all means, go turn the breaker back off. As you tighten the screws for the outlets, you may need to apply pressure to the top, bottom, left, or right side to get them to line up and not be angled at all. I always hate when someone installs an outlet and it's visibly angled out to the side. It happens because of tension on the wires in the box, so if you apply pressure to the outlet before fully tightening the screws down, you should be able to get it notably straighter. And as we go to put the cover back on, we run into one of the most annoying issues that people face, and that's the cover not easily fitting over all of the outlets. To fix this, anchor one outlet down, which in my case is the left one, so it cannot move. From there, gently loosen the screws for any other outlets so they can barely wiggle back and forth with just a tiny bit of pressure. This is usually a quarter or half turn of the screw. Once you do that, put your cover back on and then pull the other outlet over so the cover sits in it beautifully. As for the flathead screws, screw all four in a little bit initially, then slowly tighten them down until the screw heads all face the same direction. They don't need to be extremely tight. If you see your cover start to flex at all, it's too tight. And if you have a cheap plastic cover, guaranteed you just broke it if you're going that tight. And that's all for this video. Now you have a new outlet with USB plugs built in, so you don't have to use those pesky charging blocks. As always, if you like the content I'm putting out, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all new content as it comes out. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. And also, a special thanks to our YouTube channel members. Dobby Lapoos.